Welcome to day 15, halfway through 30 days. Hopefully, these 30 days can really help your body, your nervous system to orient a little more long term towards embodied safety. We do want to go for, that everyday relaxation if you're stuck in like on mode, but, like a more overarching goal, long term goal, that embodied safety. Yeah, when the nervous system learns that, then your baseline for overall wellness can go up, can raise. And yeah, thoughts, the quality of thoughts, your ability to manage them over time can get a lot better once your body feels safe that it can do so. Yep, cool. So let's start. With that nice ventral break, like a break. I was just thinking, my eyes look really bloodshot, but then I open them, they're super white. So feel, even with your eyes open right now, see if you can feel the space around you clearing up a little. Yeah. So with your eyes open, really checking in, doing what we usually do with your eyes closed, which is checking in with the body. I like to start with my legs. If that hasn't been, pronounced or obvious up to this point, I do like to start with my legs because it helps me ground, not just like ground, but take the attention away from like my head space down to my body space. Yeah. It's one thing to know these things, it's another thing to feel them for yourself. Yep. Keep it going. Take another inhale. Pause. And during this pause, see if you can, you're looking at me, but see if you can also include the space around what you're looking at. Okay. See how that feels. Again, we want to go for like a declutter, so to speak, so that our mind, our thoughts aren't cluttering our peripheral vision and kind of like, when when you're staring at thoughts, your eyes just kind of like glaze over. Excuse me. Going for that widened, open perspective. And again, breathe, but like, again, also be present with the body. All right. With your eyes open, how does it feel to also include an awareness of the sensation created by, felt by the body? Yeah. My thoughts are like, I did some push-ups earlier and my chest is busting. No. Mindful of the aware. Honestly, the word mindful gets thrown around, in my opinion. Everything is mindfulness these days. Just be aware. It's just about awareness, right? Awareness being just observing, listening. Observing and listening. That's it. Observe and listen. Do what you do. You don't have to do the pause. Every time, at least. Doing what you always do, but with, a little more awareness and a little more listening. Activity, engagement of your ears, presence, what is it other than light and sound, sight and listening? So let's say, let's pause here. Let's say that you do come across a very interesting, intriguing, insightful, line of, my mind wants to say code, of thought, really. And it's very revealing of some stuff. Maybe what happens with me, you can go ahead and exhale. I'm going to inhale. A lot of the times, as you may encounter for yourself down the road, or maybe you've already come across this, is that when you allow the mind to relax, when you let your horse roam a little bit, give it some space, give you some space, that emptiness, that spaciousness is space where you're no longer reiterating and going over the same train of thought over and over and over again. Excuse me, just drink some water. Oh, I got the burpees. Okay. So what ends up happening, at least in my case, let me know if this happens to you, is that in that spaciousness, there's almost kind of like a sensation, right, in the listening of, I don't know, a different part of me kind of digesting, kind of like digesting information in a different way, right? Because if I'm usually digesting in one way, there's usually thoughts in the way because I'm thinking, I'm off in thought land or imagination land or fantasy land or whatever. But in that spaciousness, there's not so much, maybe a new, a deeper, a different, for sure, awareness of the present. And that's where, some would say a lot of healing can take place. If you've ever heard of Eckhart Tolle, he's an author. He's a mindfulness guy. He wrote a few books on all about presence. I haven't read them. I have them, but I haven't read them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't do that to you. I would about some stuff, but not this. So, and it also ties in with, I think, what Einstein said, like, you can't solve a problem from the same level of thinking that created the problem. And his whole thing was like, it's only when he cleared his mind and stopped thinking that about, especially about a problem, that the answer would come. Right? So if a, let's say you have like one personality as like an inner monologue, and that personality only came about in reference to an issue, right? Usually this happens with anxiety or depression. The depression like reminds us of that, you know, some moments, disconnection from safety, or the anxiety, you know, the depression is like hung up on the past. The anxiety is always trying to think its way into preventing a future scenario from happening or to prepare ourselves for that scenario. But it's in reference to a scenario that already happened, right? The depression is like stuck in the past on that scenario that already happened. And the anxiety is trying to prevent another one from happening. So it's like projecting into the future one happening and then trying to like think its way around that. But in the present, you know, observing, listening, sort of being more kind of like casting a net over the present. So instead of being in the past, being in the future, we're just like, okay, this is what is. It can be difficult. I'm not gonna lie to you. Again, I wouldn't do that. How about this? Uh, it can be hard. It can be challenging because then that asks us to accept what's happened. And for some people, that can be really borderline, if not at least in this moment, unacceptable. But maybe in each of these moments where we engage as much as possible with the present moment, to that degree, we can accept our life up until this point. And from here, it's a beautiful thing. We can have some say over our trajectory. But maybe you're thinking, well, if I don't have all the say, then I don't want none of the say. And that's fucking childish. I'm gonna lay that on you. It's childish. It is akin to a child throwing a tantrum because they didn't get their toy. And I don't mean to, you know, diminish or minimize anything that you've gone through. Keep it going. But you're here now, and you've learned a lot since, you know, your childhood days. So you now is a lot wiser, a lot smarter, a lot more experienced. So is there any room for you now having say over your future trajectory, at least some, if not a little more so, than your childhood self, your childhood responses? I hope the answer is yes. And if not, what would it take? I'll leave it there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Day 16 tomorrow. Excited.